If you're new to Destiny 2, hopping into the Destiny universe with Beyond Light, or maybe coming back after taking some time off from the game, these are the 5 Titan exotic armor pieces you need to get your hands on for endgame PvE content. All 5 exotic armor pieces are what I would personally use in raids, dungeons, and nightfall ordeals. These exotics aren't in any meaningful order of importance, but you'll know which ones will be at the top of your list by the end. Hi guys, I'm Legionless and this channel is about helping you enjoy your games more. If you want to enjoy your games more, subscribe to the channel and like this video to help me out. Actium War Rig steadily reloads a portion of your equipped auto rifle or machine gun's magazine from its reserves while you're using it. Now, I know that doesn't really sound very interesting or that useful in endgame content, but machine guns are some of the best heavy weapons to use in boss fights or for safely clearing away waves of enemies. One of the best boss DPS options for Titans are to equip the exotic LMG Xenophage and just shoot the massive bullets of damage it does into the boss. For a while now, this exotic has been part of how to do some of the highest damage possible in smaller boss damage phases because Actium War Rig will keep putting ammo from the reserves directly into the magazine while you're firing. You don't need to stop to reload at all, just hold down the trigger and watch the boss's health go down. While you're firing your primary auto rifle, Actium War Rig will dump more ammo into your magazine, and with how strong ARs are at slaying enemies from a relatively safe distance away, this exotic chest piece is going to make the best auto rifle you have even better at doing what it does best, killing enemies in front of you. The perk options on auto rifles are almost always really good, so you'll get a lot of strong ARs with good pairings of perks that will easily become some of your most go-to primary weapons. And with Actium War Rig, it's like having a much larger magazine for you to work with more time being spent using your weapons and less time being vulnerable reloading them. You can't go into group content without having the Helm of Saint 14 exotic helmet in your inventory, especially when you know that there's going to be a lot of melee enemies sprinting towards you and your team. While you're at or below the recommended power level for the content you're in, like when you're running the new raid or the dungeon the moment it opens, melee enemies like Hive Thrall hurt a lot. Or maybe the encounter you're in is really closely confined and there's not a lot of space separating you from enemies. If you're going into these types of content, Helm of Saint 14 will make managing these types of enemies really easy. Helm of Saint 14's exotic perk, Starless Night, blinds any enemy that enters your Ward of Dawn for a few seconds. This removes any threat those enemies pose to you or your teammates and can break up a big group of enemies that are extremely dangerous together, like enemies that explode when they're near you, which will almost always instantly kill you. When they're separated and blinded, the danger they had drops, and now it's much easier for you or an ally to clear them up safely. Starless Night also has a really strong benefit for your allies that step into your Ward of Dawn super. As soon as anyone enters the safety of the bubble, an overshield gets added on top of their health and shield bar. Not only do you get a huge damage buff from Ward of Dawn, but you get more survivability. This overshield isn't as powerful as being worth another health bar, but you can survive enough extra damage that it's going to make your initial raiding experience change from hiding behind cover all the time with just a smidge of health to more confidently and aggressively playing with fewer moments of near death. In extremely challenging content where there's constantly the danger of taking tons and tons of damage with not a lot of cover, it's time to pull out the Ursa Furiosa exotic gauntlets. Ursa is only useful for the Code of the Commander Sentinel subclass, but it provides a bunch of benefits that make it a must for the hardest content you're playing. Ursa's exotic perk is called Ursine Guard, which lets you move faster while guarding with your shield when you use your Sentinel shield super. This lets you be an extremely mobile walking shield that absorbs a ton of incoming damage meant for your team, that also drops orbs of power for your allies so they can get their super abilities faster. With how slow Sentinel Shield moves compared to everyone else on your team, the extra speed will get everyone from point A to point B from cover to cover more quickly. Even if you're not moving around a lot, the damage buff you get from Code of the Commander Sentinel Shield is almost as strong as the buff from Ward of Dawn. Unlike Ward of Dawn though, you can move the shield around to block any damage as long as you're facing where the damage is coming from. One of the best ways of using this is during boss fights where there's little cover and the boss will just go right through your team's health with so much damage that you can't run from. The most important benefit Ursa Furiosa gives is actually the more damage you block with Sentinel Shield, the more super energy gets refunded to you when your super runs out. The amount of super energy you get back isn't as brokenly overpowered as when this exotic first dropped in Destiny, but it's still quite a large amount for just using the Sentinel Shield how you typically use it. Lion Ramparts is the only exotic on this list that doesn't really make a very direct impact on your gameplay and endgame content, but that doesn't mean that a lot of Titan players don't swear by this. It doesn't make combat easier or help you do more damage like Helm of Saint 14 or Actium War Rig. This exotic leg armor does give additional aerial movement for better control of the Titan's lift jump, and you get accurate hip fire while in the air and using your lift. It doesn't sound like much on paper, but with every Destiny raid ever, there's been some sort of jumping puzzle requiring the team to traverse from point A to B just based off of each person's platforming skills. There's nothing more aggravating than that one person on the raid team that can't make it through the jumping puzzle. If you don't want to feel embarrassed when the raid team inevitably asks you to return to orbit so they can move forward to the checkpoint, do yourself a favor and make the platforming a little bit easier with Lion Rampant. Icefall Mantle is probably the best exotic armor piece coming in Beyond Light out of the 6 we know about. This exotic is all but guaranteed to be what I'm going to be taking into my day 1 Deep Stone Crypt raid attempt, with my Titan maximizing its resilience stat so I can get a barricade every few seconds. Icefall Mantle replaces your rally or towering barricade you have equipped and gives you an overshield when you use your Titan class ability. With how squishy you often feel in endgame content, or when your power level is lower than the enemies you're facing, having an overshield that I can give myself every few seconds whenever I need it is just gonna be life-saving when it comes to the raid. Add in some armor mods to help reduce my barricade class ability, and I'll be able to proc the overshield over and over again. Max resilience should give you a barricade ability every 14 seconds for you to get an overshield, compared to a long 52 seconds when you have less than 10 resilience stat points. Your skills and the gear you've worked for are put to the test in the most difficult levels of endgame content. Your build isn't complete until you have that last exotic piece of armor that ties all of your gear together and gives you that last oomph you need. In the comments below, share what your must-have Titan exotics are for endgame content so we can all learn from each other and try out new builds outside of what we're used to. If you want to enjoy your games more, subscribe to the channel and share this video with others new to Destiny so they can enjoy their games more too. Follow me on Twitter for more Destiny content and like this video to help me out. Thanks for watching.